Hey everybody. Okay, so let's talk about quartal and quintal chords. This is a new thing. And for the most part, up until now, when we say the word chord, we're usually talking about a tertian chord. It kind of sounds like a Martian chord, but it's a tertian chord, meaning it's built on thirds. So we stacked thirds in the extended chord chapter as far as we could stack them till we got to the 13th, and then it repeats 2 octaves above. So if we listen to what I've got here on this first line, we have our tertian chord, 7th, 9th, 11th, 13th, and then you put them all together, and you have a dominant 13th. Okay, so now let's say instead of building chords with thirds, we build them on fourths. And so these are stacks of perfect fourths. So melodically, sounds like this. All right, and then if we put them all together, I have 6 perfect fourths stacked on top of each other, starting with this C, C, F, B flat, A flat, D flat, and we get this chord. Okay, so it's pretty cool sound. It has a little bit more of an open sound than a third chord. And the place where quintal chords and quartal chords can get a little bit confusing is that sometimes the voices will be in different octaves. So just like an inversion for a triad, you might see a note that gets displaced. So for instance, this chord right here, has got the same notes for most of this, right? We've got the F, the B flat, the E flat, the D flat, or sorry, the A flat, and then this C, instead of being down there, it's up here. And so it looks like it might be some sort of like A flat major on the top, but then when you put it with the F and the B flat, it still essentially has that quartal sound. Okay, and you might see something like this. So it looks like it might be like a fifth with an added note, but you also can think about the fact that this G could be down there, and then it would be a stack of 2 perfect fourths on top of each other. And this one, here's a B flat, there's an E flat, there's an A flat, there's a D flat, so it's got a lot of the same ingredients over here, but we have our F way up at the top as opposed to down here, and we have our C here in middle C as opposed to down here. So I took these 2 notes and I moved them up. Okay, and quartal chords, if you think about perfect fourths and perfect fifths, that those intervals are inversions of each other. So if you were to take 2 notes that form a perfect fourth, say G up to C, and then you take the C and put it on the bottom, you end up with a perfect fifth. So that's why when we're analyzing these chords, we really just put a Q on them because they could be quartal or quintal. So what I did here is I took all of these notes from this quartal chord and then I spelled them backwards, so from top down, and then I went bottom up. So D flat is here, and then D flat is over here. A flat is here, A flat is here. E flat is here, E flat is here, B flat is here. Right, so basically if you flip a quartal chord on its head, you end up with a quintal chord. So let's go ahead and listen to this line of quartal chords here. All right, so it's a very kind of open sound, and it does kind of sound impressionistic. It sounds like music that we would hear in a Debussy piano piece. Okay, so for quintal, it's pretty much the same thing. We're building fifths, and just way up from the top, obviously it covers a wider range because fifths are bigger. And then we've got a bunch of fifths on top of each other. Okay, so same principles apply to what I was doing up here with these chords. This one could also be a similar version of these notes, right? I took the F sharp and I moved it down here, and I took the C from the bottom and I put it up here. But it's pretty much the same group of notes. And then here again, here's a fifth. If we take this B up on top, it would be stacks of fifths, but the voicing is different. And here, the F would have to go below the C, and then it would be a stack of fifths. Okay, and if I flip this on its head with the C on the top instead of the bottom, we end up with a quartal chord. So hopefully that makes sense. So because they're kind of interchangeable, like I said, we just label them with Qs. And this is the short passage that is in your textbook on page 499. They just say these are quartal chords because obviously visually it makes a lot more sense to think about the fourth being G sharp to C sharp, and then C sharp up to F sharp, and then F sharp up to B, and then kind of repeat C sharp, which we already have down here on the top as the melody. And then these, by the way, these chords are planed because this is pretty much the same chord that is moving up and then back down again. And we would just label them with a Q. So let's play this part. All right, so that's much more aggressive than it's played in the real piece, but those are the chords there. Okay, so hopefully this helps with the explanation of quartal and quintal chords. You're looking for some of these in the Debussy piece that is in part of your homework.